welcome back to another episode of Living Off an Income Portfolio. This is a series where I document my life, try to early retire off an income focused portfolio. For those of you who joined for the first time, this is a series where I track my portfolio or the withdrawal, and then I compare them with other popular portfolio like a VFV, S&P 500, QQC, XEQT, and HYLD to see how each would have performed under the same withdrawal strategy, and to see that if I were to go with a different portfolio, would my retirement would have been more successful or less successful. So without further ado, let's take a look at the portfolio. Just want to put disclaimer out first. I only own the main portfolio, the rest are hypothetical, just to see as the research purposes, to see that compare the data, to see how each of them would have performed. All right, without further ado, let's take a look. So this is the main portfolio. Let me just make it a little bit bigger here. So main portfolio. Um, I haven't gone through them in a while. I did go through them in the beginning. So basically, our portfolios are divided into three pieces. The core holding, this is kind of where all the register accounts are. Everything in this portfolio, the idea is that to be reinvested as like a backup plan. Think of it as like a core holding. Everything's a little bit shifting toward growth. We have a VFV and WT. All the dividend distribution we get each month are being reinvested into these accounts. And then ideally for long-term growth, we're not going to touch unless it's really emergency. We also have a margin account. So this is kind of act as like an opportunity fund. So we will be slightly more active in this account. We might be selling put, we might be selling calls, we might be buy individual stock that I see have some potential. As of right now, we are holding Amazon and Reddit, and then so far they've been doing okay, nothing too crazy. We did hold a lot of fixed income in the past because I felt that interest rate was very high, and then the rate cut was coming, so we did hold some fixed income, and those pay out really well in the past. If you're interested in those trades, you can take a look at the older video. But as of right now, it's pretty tame. We do have some leap option on Oracle that are not kind of displaying here. I just kind of simplify in the option holding estimate over here because the number fluctuate all the time. Sometimes we sell call against it, sometimes we sell some put. So without making it too complicated, I just put them as option holding over here. This account is somewhat self-contained. Usually everything is being kept in here. I might take it out sometime to put in my TFSA room, RSP, or whichever. But generally, this is like a backup income. If I really need extra income, sometimes I take it from here. And then we do have the living expense portion over here. This part, as name suggested, all the distribution we get from these accounts are being withdrawn out to the cash holding, and we spend and live out of it. These living expense portions are generally very cover call heavy. We do have YTSL, which is took a little bit of a hit after the Tesla earning. We do have QQY and JEBQ. All these paid quite a hefty dividend. I think right now they're paying 16, 17%, which is honestly quite high. But the idea is that this is kind of what we live off, and then the rest are kind of like a backup to support this account when it's needed. Right now, our portfolio is sitting at 1.226 million. It's been quite successful. Me and my wife retired early I think we were 35 at the time. Our portfolio was about 850K, and ever since then, despite withdrawing it consistently, our portfolio has grown to 1.226. And then ever since then, we didn't really have money coming in. Sure, we have like that year tax refund. We do have some option selling on the side and some trading, but we haven't had a full-time job ever since. On the side note, we sometimes trade some option using margin from the living expense portion over here, made possible by the new Wealthsimple update. I think they're starting it in February. So Wealthsimple introducing a put selling, and then they kind of lean into more option selling recently. So the nice thing about this is that the fees are very low. Usually I sell option from my TD account, which is quite a high fee. You gotta pay $10 per trade, and then you gotta pay like $1.25 per option contract, and then those fees really add up. So Wealthsimple introduced option selling recently this year, and the fee is zero. So you can trade like really far to the money that usually wouldn't be possible because the fee would eat up all your premium, but you can do it in Wealthsimple. And then so far we've been quite successful. We have ever since starting in March, we've been doing quite a bit here and there. And then in July, it was a lot of volatility, with the earnings and all the Leopold stuff. So we were able to make 5,000 from selling put mainly on Micron because of Micron trade was pretty crazy, right? I think some of you asked me about it. basically you can go 25% out of the money and you can still make like a 25%, 30% annualized trade. So I thought that the risk reward was pretty good. I didn't go too crazy in terms of sizing. I just sell like, my weekly calls on, sorry, weekly put on Micron here and there, and was able to generate a pretty good premium in July. However, I don't expect this to go forward. Going to be the same here. In August, the premium has already come way down. Volatility dropped a lot after all the Leopold stuff, the earning, the war kind of like old news now. So I don't expect to get this kind of premium again, at least for now. Okay, so that is the main account. So let's take a look at the VFV. Again, this is a hypothetical portfolio just to kind of test to see and compare that from the same starting point. If I were to went all in VFV and then withdraw the same amount, how much I would have been standing right now. So VFV, we are sitting at 1.137 million, a little bit lower and underperforming our main account a little bit. Again, this is very passive account. We only sell shares as we need it. So basically the sell shares amount is based off how much we withdraw per month from main portfolio. You can see the history over here. I had to collapse some because they're quite a bit. So last month we withdraw about 5,000. We sell 25 shares. So since the beginning we have sold 482 shares and then total share is sitting at 5885.35. Account total is 11.37. Still very successful in terms of our starting point, which was about 850K. Has grown quite a bit despite withdrawing quite heavily. VFB is despite growing less, but also has it's gonna have a lot less volatility than our main account, and then gonna have less volatility than QQC account, which we will show later on. I documented the Liberation Day low over here, which was at 753K. This is back in like April 2025. That was the dip lowest I've seen. Our main account dipped quite a bit higher, quite a bit lower at 732, which was quite scary, but we didn't really do much at that time. I had some cash set aside, so I kind of take the cash out and kind of like purchase into the account to the portfolio as much as I can. Next, let's take a look at XEQT. XEQT also very successful. In terms of, like for general public, I think that XEQT is probably the most successful out of all of them, not just because of the portfolio amount alone, but from the volatility standpoint. So basically, XQT has the least volatility while still growing consistently over time. I think this is due to it being very diversified across the world and also have a pretty good allocation to Canada as well. So XQT, since we started, we have sold 1,500 shares. And I know that a lot of criticism for selling shares is that you're gonna run out of shares, you're gonna be broke later on because you have no share left to sell. So the idea of like obviously I'm not doing this, but I just want to explain the other side, right? So by selling shares, idea is that your per share is gonna keep growing, that eventually you're gonna sell less and less shares, and then eventually you're gonna be selling like 30 years down the road, assuming they don't split, you might be selling 5 shares to fund your whole month kind of thing instead of hundreds of shares. Like it's just an idea. So again, we're starting at 850K. XQT right now is sitting at 1.217. Our account, since we have some Oracle leaps, which have been doing quite bad, we actually dipped below XQT at one point, but then I think at the end it's kind of, sorry about that. I think my microphone keeps shutting off when there's no sound coming in on my headphone here. So yeah, XQT doing quite well. Let's go to HYLD. For those of you not familiar, HYLD is basically like a US based index, not really index, but like generally index with the 25% leverage and then with the cover call layer on top. HYLD has sitting at about 1.2. Because the HYLD pays so much dividend, I had to slap a small tax amount on it just because it wouldn't be fair to just get to keep everything. And because they pay so much, I actually have to buy shares every month instead of selling shares. So every month we've been adding shares depending on how much we have left after the withdrawal. So far we have bought about 74.97 shares since the beginning. Again, very successful cases starting at 850. Now we're at about 1.2. Liberation Day lowest did dip more than XQT and VFV and other portfolio just because it has leverage and also very US heavy. In the end, still very successful, 80/50 to 1.2 over the span of 2.5 years. And then they have quite a consistently dividend increase as well. This probably don't bother too much because it's already paying a lot. I'd rather have a lot of NAV retained, but Again, I'm not personally invested in this. It's just for testing purposes, hypothetical scenario. Next is the QQC. This is like a Nasdaq based, very tech heavy, but also has I think it was like 60% tech, I'm assuming, and also very passive fund. Um, QQC right now is in the lead among all portfolios just because they are very growth focused. QQC is sitting at 1.267 million. Again, since the beginning, we have sold 2185 shares total. I know that the idea is to sell less share overall, but then, in reality, your withdrawal is going to be a little hard to predict. I actually end up withdrawing a lot more than when I first started. When I first starting, I think I only withdraw about, 3K per month. And then I think right now we withdraw close to 5K per month from the account. So we had planned, but then, things change and then our plan changed. But that's how life is, right? You never really can predict everything for sure 100%. So again, QQC very successful, 850K to 1.267. Let's take a look at the side-by-side portfolio over here. So ever since the starting point, I know it's in 932 here, but I actually retired before this, but I never thought to make a YouTube video or start recording the information as detailed as right now. So as you can see, in the beginning we only withdraw about 3K per month, and then now we're withdrawing close to like a 5K per month over here. This month was anomaly because we did sell some option. I think I'm kind of blocking it here. Let me just go down a little bit. Okay, because we sold some option, usually we're going to reinvest the option premium, but that month we actually withdraw out the option premium. So that's why it resulted in a higher than normal withdrawal. So as you can see, they all have a same starting point. And then right now, this is the as of today account over here. And here's this side-by-side graph. I like to kind of have it visually display. I really enjoy seeing this information. And in the future, 5 years down the road, we're going to have like a really nice graph showing how things are progressing. Um, Ever since we start recording, this is the amount we have withdraw. So far, we have withdraw 101K. And ideally, it's probably close to 150K, but we only start recording since that time, as I mentioned earlier. So as you can see the graph here, originally, I actually thought, again, I mentioned this every video, I thought that VFV would perform a lot better. But surprisingly, it actually performed the worst. And then it's still doing, even though it's still doing okay, it did perform a lot worse than HYLD and XEQT. I thought XEQT is going to be very stable, but also have less growth. But so far, I think partially because of XEQT is heavily invested in Canada. I think it have about 25% Canada. And financial and energy has been doing really well, and Canada is a very financial and energy heavy. So I think that play a good part in XEQT performing really well. Our portfolio did beat our QQC by a good amount back then, but then of course we were pretty heavy into Oracle leaps, so we did pay for that pretty dearly. But so far, we're still doing okay. Okay, so that's it for going over the numbers. So in terms of this is kind of like a side-by-side monthly number over here. Um, One-on-one change, we are portfolio up 4,500. This year, we actually underperformed VFV and QQC benchmark by quite a bit. We did overperform, like we did beat them, but again, with the leap, now it's kind of coming down a little bit. We did beat out the last couple years. Last year, we did return 16%, and then including withdrawal is about 21%. This year, it's starting out a little slow. We had 6%, including withdrawal about 10%, compares to VFV, which is 11%, and QQC, which is 16%. But again, we only kind of halfway through. We have to see how things are progressing in the second half of the year. It's gonna be for us. It's gonna be very heavily depend on how Oracle's doing. We don't have any like a outsized portfolio or anything. I think it's about like maybe 8% of the portfolio. If I lose it all, it would really suck, but it wouldn't like, destroy everything that we have worked for or anything like that. It's a long lead possession. It's not like a super leverage or anything like that. So we'll be okay. Obviously, ideally, we want it to work out, but it is what it is. 2026 goal, honestly, I haven't been doing too much. Of course, we really want emergency fund and cash position to be 12 months of our expense, but right now it's sitting at 9,200, which is still far from our goal. We had a lot of unforeseen expense this year that it kind of like put the back burner of this a little bit. Reading book been really slacking. We had 3.5 book this year. I really want to kind of up it a little bit, but I find that it's been so hot lately. It's finding hard time sitting down and read. eBay listing. I've been super slacking about this one. The nice thing is we're still doing Duolingo every day. I'm trying to learn Chinese and try to learn chess, so I've been doing that. Cooking, I didn't put it here, but we still cook regularly. I really enjoy cooking. That's kind of like a newfound passion that I like more and more after I have more free time in hand. I hate cleaning, but my wife doesn't mind cleaning when I cook, so it's kind of work out. So yeah, that's basically it. Life stuff, nothing changed much. Still, if you follow my story, you probably know that my mom's is going through cancer. So we are dealing with that. Um, Not a lot of update, just take her to appointments, still wait to be seen. Results haven't been the best, but we still have hope and faith that things will get better. We're gonna try everything we can. Again, with the monthly reminder, you probably get sick of hearing this all the time. Take care of your health, take care of your family, spend time with people you love, and then all this, all this is just enable you to be able to have free time to spend quality time with the family and people you love. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.